I found out my wife was waiting for me to die so she could run off with her lover and take my money. Hey Reddit. I don't know why I'm here really. Maybe to write it all down. Maybe because there's no one left to tell. But if this helps even one person out there, it'll have been worth it. My name's Alan. I'm 67 years old. I've been retired since 58. I used to run my own HVAC company down here in Georgia, did pretty well for myself. Married to a woman named Christine, blonde, put together, sharp tongue, always looked 10 years younger than she was. We've been married 38 years. No kids together. My daughter Lacey is from my first marriage. Christine came in when I was still recovering from that divorce. She was fire, ambitious, wild, but damn if I didn't fall head first. Then I got sick. Some autoimmune hell that turned my life into endless doctors, fatigue, and days where just getting out of bed felt like hiking Everest. Christine took care of me. Or so I thought. The truth is, she managed me. At first, it was small things. She started locking her phone. Spent more nights out with her book club, which always conveniently met at 7 p.m. and ended at midnight. She'd roll her eyes when I asked questions, say things like, "God, Alan, you've gotten so paranoid since you got sick." But we were comfortable. We had enough. The bills were paid, the fridge was full, and my pension, life insurance, and the house were all in both our names. I trusted her. Like a fool. The first real red flag came when I overheard a phone call in the garage. I was getting a bottle of Gatorade from the second fridge, and she was talking on speaker in her car, must have thought I was asleep. All I heard was, "Of course I love you. He's barely holding on. We just have to wait a little longer." It was the tone that hit me. Soft, secretive, rehearsed. I backed out of the garage like I hadn't heard a damn thing. But from that moment, I started paying attention. What I found out next cracked my whole world wide open. Okay. So after that garage moment, I started doing something I never thought I'd do in my life. Snooping. Now look, I'm 67, not 17. I don't understand half the crap she does on her phone. But I do know how to look. And Christine? She got sloppy. One day she left her iPad unlocked on the kitchen island. She was in the backyard pruning flowers like the wholesome little suburban wife she pretended to be. I opened the iPad out of instinct, not even knowing what I was looking for. Boom. Messages. Photos. Cloud-connected sins. There he was. Mason. Saved with a stupid peach emoji. The thread was long. Flirty. Graphic. Heart emojis, miss you, texts, and lots, and I mean lots, of photos. One in particular? Burned into my brain. Christine. In my kitchen. Wearing my old army t-shirt. Nothing else. Caption. Breakfast in bed for my man, face blowing kiss, just not the husband. I felt my throat close up. There was a video too. Low angle. She was laughing, whispering into the camera, sitting on our couch. He's in the next room sleeping. Isn't that F***ed up? That was the moment I knew this wasn't just cheating. This was psychological warfare. She wasn't just unfaithful, she was waiting me out. Like a spider biding her time until the fly gave up struggling. I copied everything, screenshots, screen recordings. Sent it to a burner email I created right then and there. I didn't know what I was going to do yet, but I knew one thing. I wasn't dying on my back while she planned her little honeymoon with Mason. I didn't confront her right away. Nope. I waited. I needed to see her. Really see her. I needed to know if I could still spot the lies once I had the truth in my back pocket. That night, Christine made meatloaf, my favorite, and poured me a glass of wine with that fake-ass nurse-wife smile. The one she probably practiced in the mirror before going to see Mason. She asked me if I'd thought more about revising my will. Just in case, she said. I'd be so overwhelmed without clear instructions. I nearly choked on my food. So I set the trap. I asked her to sit with me on the couch, told her I'd been going through some of our old digital files, and asked if she could help me organize some of her photos. Said I was just feeling sentimental. She hesitated. Just for a second. Then she smiled that sugary, performative grin and said, "Of course, sweetheart." I opened the iPad. Pulled up the photo. The kitchen photo. Held it out to her. "When was this taken?" I asked. Her face. Oh my God, read it. The way her face collapsed in real time. She blinked. Looked at the screen. Looked at me. Then tried to smile. "That's old. That was just. I was messing around. It's a joke." "For Mason?" I asked. Calm. Measured. Her mouth opened, then closed. Like a fish gasping for a lie that didn't come. "You went through my private things?" She snapped suddenly, turning it back on me. "You're *ing him in my house. Sending him selfies while I sleep in the next room. Don't talk to me about privacy." ***. Then the mask fell completely. She went cold. Cold like the woman I married was a character in a play that just ended. "You don't understand," she said. "Mason makes me feel alive. I haven't felt like a woman in years, Alan. You haven't touched me in a decade. You think I'm evil for needing something real? You mean something young," I said. "Not real. Just newer." She didn't deny it. Instead, she looked me in the eye and said something I'll never forget. "You were supposed to die, Alan." I didn't think I'd still be waiting. That broke something in me I don't think will ever fully heal. But it also woke something up. I looked at her and said, "You're not waiting anymore." After that confrontation, I knew I couldn't stay passive. Christine thought she had time, thought I'd just lie down and fade out while she fluffed Mason's pillows and plotted her widow aesthetic. What she didn't know was, sick doesn't mean stupid. Tired doesn't mean done. I made a call to my daughter Lacey the next morning. She's 39, lives in Colorado, married with 2 kids. We're close, but I'd kept her at arm's length about Christine. I didn't want her worrying. But now, I needed her to know everything. I told her everything I saw. Everything Christine said. And what I planned to do. I want to take her out of the will. Entirely. House. Accounts. The pension if I can. Lacey's response? "What took you so long, Dad?" She helped me find a lawyer in town, a sharp guy named Patel. Used to specialize in elder law and probate. I brought in all the evidence. The messages. The pictures. The plan she didn't know I had. Together we restructured everything. The will? Revised. The house? Transferred into a living trust with Lacey as sole beneficiary. The accounts? Secured under new terms, Christine completely removed. My power of attorney? Transferred to Lacey. My life insurance? Redirected. No more grieving widow, cash grab. Then I wrote Christine a letter. Not a goodbye. Not a confession. Just a warning. You gambled that I wouldn't live long enough to protect what I'd built. You were wrong. Whatever future you imagined with Mason, you can build it from scratch. Because you won't be building it off of me. I didn't plan to give it to her. But fate, in her twisted little way, decided to play a hand. Because Christine found it. I left the letter on my nightstand. Stupid, I know. I wasn't planning to show it to her, just needed to write it. Needed the clarity. I figured I'd burn it, or hand it to Lacey, or lock it away. But Christine found it. I was taking a nap, part of my daily routine, since fatigue still hits like a damn freight train. I woke up to the sound of a drawer slamming. The kind of slam that carries rage. Not confusion. Not curiosity. Rage. She was standing at the foot of the bed, letter crumpled in her hand, red-faced like a banshee that missed brunch. "What the hell is this?" she barked. I sat up slowly, adjusted my glasses. "A draft. You're cutting me out of everything?" You think you're going to punish me for being lonely while you decayed? Her voice was venom. No shame. No remorse. Just fury that her prize was slipping away. You lied, Christine. You cheated. You were counting on me dying and didn't even have the decency to pretend anymore. She threw the letter at me. Literally. Like some low-budget courtroom drama. You know what? Maybe Mason was right. Maybe I should have just left you and forced the house sale. At least then I wouldn't be wasting the last years of my youth playing nursemaid to a man who's already halfway in the ground. I swear to God, Reddit, I felt my pulse slow. Not from fear. Not from heartbreak. From clarity. Then go, I said. Go live your youth. Go to Mason. But you're not getting a damn thing from me when I'm gone. She stormed out. Packed a bag that night. I watched her slam the front door like she was the injured party. Drove off in her Lexus, the one I bought her on our 25th anniversary. I sat in silence. For hours. Then I called Lacey. She's gone. Lacey's reply? Good. Now let's take the trash out of your accounts too. We were just getting started. After Christine stormed out, I thought maybe, just maybe, she'd try to play it cool. Lay low. Save face. Try to spin it with some vague, "We've decided to separate" narrative for the neighbors. Nope. She went full scorched earth. I found out she'd been calling everyone. My sister Beth. My nephew Jesse. Even my old friend Harold from our church days. Telling them I'd gone senile. That I was changing my will under pressure from Lacey. That I was paranoid and losing touch with reality. She even implied Lacey was manipulating me for money. The nerve. Thankfully, most of my people are smarter than that. Beth called me within minutes of hearing it. Al, what the hell is Christine talking about? I told her. The whole thing. No sugarcoating. Just laid it out. The texts. The photos. The letter. The plan. And Beth, God bless her, lost it. That bitch stood in my house every Thanksgiving acting like the perfect wife. I hope she chokes on her Botox. Within 48 hours, the entire family knew. And not just my family. Lacey, who's got a bit of a dark-streaked backbone, takes after her mother, took all the evidence I'd saved and shared it, strategically. A few trusted people. A few untraceable links. Christine's polished image cracked like cheap porcelain. Even her friends, the tennis club ladies, the wine moms, started backing away. Because nothing ruins a suburban queen like the word waiting for her husband to die, floating through a community Facebook group. Mason? He went quiet. From what I could gather through my PI, the moment she showed up full-time, he realized she wasn't some exotic, secret fantasy. She was a bitter, controlling woman with no filter and a lot of demands. He blocked her within the week. Christine called me 3 days later. Didn't ask how I was. Didn't apologize. Just said, "You didn't have to ruin me, Alan." I calmly replied, "You were already ruined. I just turned on the lights." Click. After that phone call, after she dared to act like I was the villain in her pity parade, I knew I had to go all in. No loopholes. No emotional strings. No. Maybe she'll come around. This wasn't just betrayal. This was strategy. She played the long game. I just hadn't known I was a pawn until I found the scorecard. So I made moves. First, I met with Patel again, my lawyer. We walked through every account, every asset, every legacy clause in my insurance, trust, and retirement. And together, we sealed every crack she might have crawled back through. Here's what we did. Will finalized and notarized with ironclad language that removed Christine from everything. If she contested it, she'd forfeit any shared benefits. House ownership transferred to a trust, effective immediately. Christine's name removed. She couldn't even argue over furniture. Pension beneficiaries switched to Lacey and her 2 sons in equal thirds. A clause added to my power of attorney revoking Christine's access to any medical or legal decision-making, past or future. Digital locks reset. All financial portals now two-factor authenticated to me and Lacey. Christine wouldn't even know the banks I was using. Then we got petty, but smart. Patel helped me create a legal statement of intent, filed with our county's estate office, explaining the circumstances of the divorce proceedings and the fraudulent manipulation Christine had attempted. That way, if she ever tried to show up again, crying at a judge, she'd have an official paper trail waiting to bitch slap her back into reality. Lacey even helped me create a new medical directive. In the event of emergency hospitalization, Christine was to be denied visitation. I'm telling you, revenge doesn't always look like fire. Sometimes it looks like cold, calm signatures on notarized pages. Sometimes it looks like a woman finding out in a courtroom that the man she tried to outlive already made her irrelevant. And I was just getting started. I thought she'd just slink away, honestly. Find another guy to bleed dry or maybe slither back to whatever whina betrayal club she came from. But nah. That would have required self-respect. Instead, Christine showed up at my door 5 days after the paperwork went through. I was sitting in the living room, Coda, Lacey's dog, temporarily on loan, curled up at my feet. The knock was frantic. I knew before I opened it. Christine. No makeup. Hair messy. Wearing an old hoodie I hadn't seen since 2015, probably trying to trigger nostalgia or something. But there was nothing left to reach. Her eyes were wild. Puffy. She looked like a woman who had finally realized the gold mine just sealed the vault. Alan, she said, breathless. Please. Can we just talk? I opened the door halfway. Stayed planted. We said everything that needed saying, Christine. She tried to push past me. I blocked her. Then she snapped. The performance mask came off so fast it practically shattered on the porch. I gave you my life, Alan. I wiped your ass when you were too sick to get out of bed. I sacrificed everything. I didn't yell. I didn't move. You sacrificed nothing. You calculated. You planned. You waited for me to die so you could cash in. You weren't my wife. You were a damn investor betting on my expiration date. She froze. I could see it hit her, how thoroughly I saw through her now. She tried again. Mason's gone. Everyone turned on me. I made a mistake, okay? But we can fix it. You don't have to punish me for the rest of your life. I looked her dead in the eyes. I'm not punishing you. I'm protecting what's left of mine. Then I closed the door. Slowly. Quietly. She stood there, screaming, pounding on it. Yelling about betrayal. About how I used her, and let Lacey poison me. I sat back down, turned the volume up on the TV, and waited until her voice faded into tears and silence. Lacey showed up an hour later with Thai food and 0 questions. We ate on the porch. You okay? She finally asked. I'm better than I've been in 10 years. I said. And I meant it. There's a weird thing that happens when you stop waiting to die. You start noticing life again. After Christine left, for real this time, I started waking up without dread. I wasn't healed overnight. Still had the fatigue, the stiffness in my joints, the daily pill schedule that looked like a candy sampler from hell. But something had lifted. There was air in the house again. I started small. Walks with Coda. 10 minutes at first. Then 20. Then a whole hour on the trail near the park where I used to take Lacey when she was 5. I'd forgotten how good fresh air smelled when it wasn't laced with tension and perfume from a woman lying through her teeth. I went to the barber. Told him to cut it short and shave the beard. He looked at me and said, "Damn, Mr. R, you got cheekbones under there." Even started showing up at the VFW hall again. Old guys I hadn't seen in years. A few of them had their own horror stories. We played cards, drank bad coffee, told the kind of jokes that would get us cancelled in a high school but made us feel human. And then came the writing. Lacey set me up with a blog. Said it might help to put the story down. I called it While I Was Dying. Posted the first entry one morning with shaking hands. Within a week, hundreds of readers. Comments from men and women who'd lived through betrayal, manipulation, loss of power. People who thought they were crazy, too old, too weak to start again. Turns out betrayal isn't rare. It's epidemic. And so is survival. I didn't expect it, but I started getting emails from people thanking me. One guy wrote, "Your story made me cancel the wedding I knew I shouldn't go through with. I owe you my future." You know what that does to a man who thought his life was over? It puts fire back in your chest. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was reclaiming. Christine thought she had it all mapped out. House, pension, life insurance. The slow fade out of a sick old man while she planned retirement cruises with her boy toy. She never expected me to outlive the plan. And she damn sure never expected me to redirect the legacy. So here's what I did. Remember that house? The one she used for her sexy little kitchen selfies? I didn't just move it into a trust. I had it appraised, fully updated, and drafted the paperwork to donate it to a transitional housing nonprofit for single dads and veterans. Not right away. I still live here. But the minute I'm gone, it goes straight to them. Christine's dream kitchen will be someone else's sanctuary. Next, my accounts. I'd already shifted the pension and life insurance to Lacey and her boys. But I wanted something bigger. So I created a scholarship fund in my name. For trade school kids from broken homes. HVAC, electrical, plumbing, real work. I funded it with the remaining savings Christine thought she'd be spending on patio furniture and spa weekends. I named it the Alan R. Brennan Resilience Fund. Every year, some kid who grew up thinking he wasn't good enough gets a shot, because I took mine back. Lacey helped me launch it. She cried when I showed her the documents. "You're giving more in death than most people give alive," she said. "Nah," I told her. "I'm giving it before death. I'm giving it to the living. That's the difference." Every cent she circled like a vulture now has a purpose bigger than either of us. She wanted a payout. I built a legacy. And she'll never touch a dime of it. It was one of those warm spring afternoons where everything smells like cut grass and second chances. I was at the local farmer's market. Lacey convinced me to start getting out more, so I was wandering past booths full of honey jars and overpriced tomatoes, when I heard a voice behind me say, "Alan Brennan? Is that really you?" I turned, and there she was. Marla Thompson. Haven't seen her in 30 years. Back in the day, she was my what if. We dated for a couple months after my first divorce, both of us too messy back then, too busy chasing other things. She moved out of state, got remarried, had kids. I hadn't thought about her in years. But there she was. Same sharp eyes. Same fire in her smile. Just older like me. Wiser. A little softer around the edges, but still her. We talked for an hour right there, standing between a pickle cart and a guy selling soap shaped like goats. She'd moved back recently. Her husband passed, kids were grown, she wanted to be closer to her sister. She asked what I'd been up to. And I told her. Not the whole saga, not at first. But enough. Enough for her to nod and say, "Sounds like she underestimated you." Damn right she did. We exchanged numbers. Didn't rush anything. But over the next few weeks, we grabbed coffee. Then lunch. Then dinner. And for the first time in decades, I wasn't bracing for betrayal. I wasn't second-guessing every smile. I wasn't pretending to be stronger than I was. I was just me. And Marla didn't flinch. She didn't pity me, didn't tiptoe around the past. She looked it all in the face and still stayed. One night, over tea at my place, she looked at me and said, "You got knocked down hard, Alan. But you didn't stay there. You built something out of it. That matters." And I believed her. Not because I needed someone to say it. Because I finally felt it. It showed up in a cream-colored envelope, no return address. The handwriting was familiar, tight, slanted, precise. Like she planned every curve of every letter just like she planned the rest of her life. Christine. I hadn't heard from her in over a year. Not since she screamed on my porch and drove off like a Lifetime movie villain without a script. I thought about tossing it. But curiosity wins when you survive betrayal. You want to understand it, even if it's poison. So I opened it. It started exactly how you'd expect. Alan, I don't know if you'll read this. I'm not even sure what I'm hoping to gain. She went on. 3 pages of rewritten history, twisted half-truths, and just enough flattery to make it sound like remorse. She called our marriage complicated. Said Mason was a mistake born of loneliness and fear. Said I changed when I got sick. That she should have left sooner, instead of breaking your heart slowly. And then the line that hit like a fist. I hope one day you can look back and remember the good, not just the betrayal. She ended it by saying she was living quietly now, trying to find peace, and included her phone number. Just in case. I folded the letter. Sat with it for a while. Then I fed it into the shredder. Not out of anger. Out of finality. She wanted me to remember the good. Let me tell you something, Reddit. When someone tries to murder your dignity slowly, the good doesn't mean a damn thing anymore. You don't owe your betrayer a highlight reel. You owe yourself peace. My 68th birthday came quietly. No party. No banners. No Christine. And for the first time in a long damn while, that felt right. Lacey offered to fly in, bring the boys, make a thing of it. I told her I appreciated it, but I needed this one to myself. No distractions. No pretending. Just me, the man who survived the slow rot of betrayal and came out stronger than anyone expected. I spent the day doing things that once felt too small to matter. I made pancakes from scratch, the way my mom used to when I was a kid. Burned the first one, laughed about it. I walked the park trail with Coda, sat on the bench by the lake, and just breathed. No hospital beeps. No fake sympathy from a woman who used to look through me like I was a ghost she hadn't buried yet. I came home, poured a glass of bourbon, and played some old vinyl records. James Taylor, Bill Withers. Stuff I hadn't listened to since the days before everything became about surviving instead of living. Then I opened my laptop. Typed a blog post titled, Reborn at 68. I wrote about what it meant to reclaim your story. How dignity doesn't come from holding on to someone who hurt you. It comes from walking away and building a life they don't get to touch. It went viral within a week. Hundreds of comments from people who'd been through their own private wars. Some young, some old, some still in the middle of it. But all of them fighting. All of them healing. And me? I realized I wasn't alone. I wasn't some cautionary tale. I was a damn reminder that it's never too late to take your power back. It was a Sunday. Cool breeze, spring sun. Marla invited me over for dinner, nothing fancy, just grilled chicken and sweet tea on her back porch, her garden in bloom. We'd been quietly close for months now. Nothing labeled. No pressure. Just steady presence. Healing disguised as simplicity. After dinner, she brought out a tiny cake. 1 candle. You didn't let anyone celebrate your birthday, she said. So I'm making up for it. Late. I laughed. But when she handed me the knife, she stopped me. Wait. She held up her glass. To Alan, she said. The man who didn't just survive betrayal, but used it to build something bigger. Something better. You didn't just bury the past, you planted something in it. And I think that's the bravest thing anyone can do. I swear to God, I almost cried. Nobody had ever toasted me like that before. Not in all my years of birthdays and barbecues and broken promises. Not like that. And it hit me. All those years with Christine? I was holding on to the idea of love. The performance. The illusion. But this This quiet, honest, no bullshit moment with a woman who saw me? This was real. I didn't blow out the candle. I let the wind do it for me. Because I didn't need wishes anymore. I had a second chance. If I could sit across from the version of me from 5 years ago, the tired man in the recliner, wasting away while his wife measured his pulse like it was a ticking clock, I wouldn't yell at him. I wouldn't say, "Wake up, you fool," or, "Run while you still can." I'd sit beside him, real quiet, and say, "She's going to break your heart in ways you didn't think were possible. And it'll feel like death. But it's not. It's rebirth in disguise." I'd tell him, "You're not weak for trusting her. You're not stupid for loving her. But you'll be a fool if you let her define your ending." I'd say, "You're going to survive her. You're going to outlive her plan. And one day, you'll build something she never even believed you had left in you, peace. Because that's what this is, Reddit. Not revenge. Not bitterness. Just peace." I wake up in the morning and don't wonder if today will be the day I'm betrayed. I eat my meals without tension. I sleep like a man who's made amends with his past. And every time I look at Coda, or walk that trail, or get a text from Lacey just saying, "Love you, Dad," I'm reminded. She tried to make me a ghost. Instead, I became more alive than I've ever been. So if you're out there, and someone's trying to make you feel like you're less than, don't waste your time proving your worth to people who bury it. Stand up. Rebuild. And write your ending yourself. I have many other stories. Go to my channel, subscribe so you don't lose us. Give me a thumbs up.